Welcome to Above Par. I'm your host, Kathy Hartwood. I show you how to take more of your talent to the golf course without practicing harder, taking more lessons, or buying new equipment. I show you how to end the frustration of underperforming so you can start playing to your potential. This is where you are going to learn how to think above par so you can play below par. Let's get to it. Hello, my golf friend, and welcome back to Above Par. This is Kathy. So this week we're going to talk about concentration and focus. This has been coming up a lot with my clients and people that I play golf with, and a lot of parents have been asking me about their juniors where they find that they just lose their concentration or focus during a round. And I just want to clear it up. I think it might help you understand for your particular situation where it's coming from, because it can have a couple different sources on how we lose concentration or focus during a round. Now, it's important to note that you do not need to concentrate or focus for 4+ hours of 18 holes, right? Your brain isn't really needed that much. You want to focus and concentrate over a shot at hand. In between shots, give your brain a rest. Let it relax a little bit, right? If you have that time. It is tiring to concentrate for 4 hours the whole time. You're grinding a little hard, and some days we need that, but you're grinding a little hard if you have to focus that whole time or concentrate that whole time. That is not the case. You really just need to focus over the golf shot. It's not too dissimilar when you jump into a car and you go on a long drive, right? Where you have to focus for, let's say, as a 4-hour drive for 4 hours straight. It's mentally tiring, right? You have to be on that whole time if you're driving your car. But when you're playing golf, you really just have to concentrate over those certain shots or just before those shots as you're paying attention. Even if you're walking to a shot and you want to get some feedback, it's not going to take you that long. Just observe it, right? And take it in. You don't have to focus and concentrate that whole time. That will definitely cause you some mental fatigue for sure. The other thing that I want to tell you is, speaking of mental fatigue, I want you to think of your brain power as far as poker chips. So you wake up in the morning and you get a stack of mental poker chips. You have the ability to spend them wherever you like. You get to pick and choose where you spend them. What happens to people when they get mentally tired at the end of a round is because they have wasted a lot of their poker chips on things that do not matter. So if you go to the golf course and you are spending your poker chips worrying and complaining about other people, the beverage cart girl being late, the staff not getting your bag, losing a head cover, the greens being aerated, that your favorite drink is out of stock. If you're spending your mental poker chips on those things, right, you want to understand that you're not going to have some on the golf course, right? Be very picky and choosy about where you decide to spend that energy, what you decide to give a chip to, right? Is that worth it? Does that deserve a poker chip? Or do you want to conserve them and be very frugal about them for the golf course, especially if it's an important round, right? You don't want to go and talk about all those different topics. Definitely, speaking of which, don't talk about politics or things that are, or the PTA or the board meeting or anything like that on the golf course if it's going to take out a poker chip, if it's going to take some of your mental energy. I've talked about that in another podcast about what to talk about on the golf course, but you are wasting some of those poker chips. This is the other thing I want to say. If you work or if you've had a stressful day and it took a lot of your mental capacity and mental energy, it's exhausting. It's not, and you go to play golf afterwards, you're a little mentally fried, right? So your expectations of when you go out there and you're wondering why you just aren't focusing very well, or you're easily frustrated or irritated, it could be that you've spent all of those poker chips during your day at work. So just give yourself a pass a little bit on that, especially if you feel yourself just, like I said, being a little tired or irritated after the end of a long day, because you only have so many, right? And if once we give them all out, we're basically a little bit toast. So this is the other thing about concentration and focus. As far as I'm concerned in this conversation, concentration and focus are an action. They're something that you do. So if you remember the formula STEAR from an earlier podcast, a couple earlier podcasts as I talked about it, that explain how we get our results in golf. Your actions drive your results. Concentrating is an action that is going to produce pretty good results for us, or our whatever our talent is at this given moment in time. That concentration comes from the E, which is an emotion that's above it, right? STEAR. So that E is an emotion or a feeling. When we are anxious, we do not focus, right? When we're angry, we usually don't focus, or frustrated, right? We're usually doing other things over the golf ball or between golf shots, right? If you're frustrated and you're over the golf ball, you might swing faster or harder or shorter. Focus does not go in that line, that A line. We just don't concentrate and focus from those states. And this is why, if you find yourself over those shots and you're like, I just couldn't concentrate over these shots, and you're noticing a lot of negative energy over that shot, or negative emotions or thoughts over that shot, you can't do both at the same time, right? Because that negative energy or those negative thoughts are coming from the back of your brain, your primal brain, especially the worry and the anxiety and the stress. And when you're back there over a golf shot, you do not have access to the part of your brain that concentrates and focuses. It shuts it off, right? I'm going to say this in very simple terms. It's kind of like a gate closes. So you want to be aware if you're hitting golf shots when you are stressed or worried. That's why I've focused in other podcasts about telling you that the best way that you perform is when you are calm, certain, or confident. If you can get in one of those emotions, then you have access to the front of your brain where you can make decisions, where you can focus, where you can concentrate, where you're rational, where all the good stuff, where your best swings are going to come from. The more that you find yourself anxious or stressed or worried or having some negative thoughts or all the chatter going on that you can't quiet your brain, or you're wrapped up in swing mechanics because you're worried about the result, you have too many swing thoughts going on, you do not have access. It shuts the door to the front of your brain, and you do not have access to concentration or focus. So in my opinion, concentration is available to you when you are in that state of being able to be calm or certain or focused, or a synonym of those, whatever works for you, where you can feel that way over the golf ball. Okay, so how do you get there? Because of what you're thinking, what you're choosing to think. So most of that comes from what I call just having a mismanaged mind, right? We just haven't trained our brain to think on purpose so that we can feel on purpose, so that we can show up with our best swings. Right? The better you get at doing that, first starts with awareness always, but the better you get at doing that, then you're going to be able to get yourself back into being focused and concentrate, right? You're going to be able to get yourself back into that state. But most of us walk around the golf course and life with mismanaged minds. We are at the effect of things that happen to us. We don't know that we can deliberately think and intentionally create things on the golf course and off the golf course, right? We're at the effect of our situations. So we become a little mismanaged. So if you are out there playing golf and you hit a ball in the water, right, and now you're all ticked off and stressed out, then you're not going to have that ability to get yourself back to where you need to be to hit your next best shot, because you are at the effect of that water. Ball went in the water. Now you're ticked off, right? I'm a ticked off person with a ball in the water. I don't know how to concentrate, right? Yes, you can't, right? Because you're stuck in the back of your brain, right? You don't know that you have control over that. You don't know that thoughts are optional and feelings are in your control, that you're in charge of everything, that you're responsible for how you feel at any given moment in time, not the water, not the ball in the water, not that swing. Right. So when you can take back that control and that power, you're going to be able to turn that off and focus much better. The other thing is you just haven't trained your brain to focus. How many of us just spend the time to just turn focusing on and concentrate on something specifically on purpose? Not when we have to. Like, if you ever noticed yourself just losing concentration, can you bring yourself deliberately back to focusing? I'll show you, I'll give you a little exercise to try it right now. I want you to just, with your eyes open, whatever you're doing, you just focus on an object. It can be a tree, it can be something, a piece of paper that's in front of you, it could be your phone. And I want you to focus on it so intensely that you notice all of the details, all the coloring, all the indentations, all the features of it, whether it's moving or not moving. Really pay attention to every single piece of whatever you're looking at. Now, your brain is going to go off and go in another direction, and then just redirect it back. focus on, I think trees are very good to focus on, especially when you're on the golf course. Go on the golf course and just look at a tree, but look at a tree with all the details. You're making your brain focus at that moment. Then you're going to notice how it goes back to just some chatter about this is stupid. I don't know why I'm doing this. My ball's over there. I don't want to do that. Whatever your brain's going to do to you, bring it back, focus back on the tree, focus on the leaves and the bark and the movement, the size of it, the texture, all of it. Your brain's going to go off and you want to redirect it back. Do it for 30 seconds and do it like 4 or 5 times throughout the day. The more that you train your brain to start focusing on purpose like that and noticing the details and notice how it wants to go off focus, right, into something else and it wanders off, you're just going to redirect it back. And the better you get at doing this, and you can use all of your senses to do this. One of the things that you can also do on the golf course is just hold a golf ball in your hand and feel all the dimples. Feel it slowly enough that you can feel all the dimples. That really helps you get out of the back of your brain up into the front of your brain so you can start focusing and concentrating. And pay attention to how many times your brain kind of goes off track. That's fine. There's nothing wrong. Everybody's does that. But the better you get at doing this skill, then when you're on the golf course, you're going to be able to snap yourself back into focus deliberately. And if you need to use a little trigger to do it, this is super helpful. Feel the golf ball, look at the leaves on the tree. And it also helps you notice all the indentations, spike marks, and the different blades of grass on the greens to help you read putts as well. So this is it in a nutshell for you. Like, we lose our focus because we're either fatigued, we've wasted all of our poker chips on other stuff that just doesn't matter during a day. You be very selective on who you want to give a chip to. Decide ahead of time. Do I want to give the beverage cart girl who's been late and has not stopped for me? Do I want to hand her a chip, or do I want to hoard that and keep that for myself so that I can focus and play the last 3 holes with some clarity, right? You get to decide whatever you want to pick your battles there. So we give away and we're just mentally fatigued. That can be a reason why you lose concentration. The other reason is that you have a mismanaged mind, which, do not worry, this is not an insult. Most of us do. We don't understand how to manage that we're in control of our thoughts and emotions on the golf course. And when they become very negative, we do not have capacity to concentrate. We shut that part of our brain off because we're not taking ownership over our emotions and our thoughts on the golf course. And then the third thing is that we just haven't trained our brain. I think this is a big one for juniors, especially too, to focus, to deliberately focus on purpose. And that was where I was mentioning to you to focus on a tree or feel the golf ball and all the dimples on the golf ball and make your brain come back and focus on it back. While it wanders, bring it back to his attention and do this as an exercise all the time, every day, whether you're on the golf course or not. And you're really going to build up your ability to concentrate and focus on the golf course when you need it. All right, my friend, I hope that helped. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you next week. So if you're interested in taking this work a little bit deeper, you are always welcome to work with me one-on-one or join my masterclass at masteryourgolfbrain.com, and you can get started today. See you there.